Hello, welcome to episode 72 of So Well Spoken. I'm Moris. With me is Angelus.
Yo.
And Mike.
What's up?
We've lost nearly 200,000 people to COVID-19 since March, and I feel like this has been a very sad time for a lot of people, a lot of loss, and that has kind of been bookended as of right now with the death of Kobe Bryant earlier in this year, which felt like everyone knew who Kobe Bryant was, and so everyone kind of felt the shock of his untimely death. And then in August, we saw the passing of Chadwick Boseman, who passed at age 43, who is like Kobe Bryant on that superstardom spectrum where most people knew who Chadwick Boseman was. Like, he was Black Panther. He was a Marvel superhero. He portrayed Thurgood Marshall, James Brown, Jackie Robinson. He was a big star. And I'm glad that he was able to keep his condition private, as it seemed that was his and his family's wishes. But it was shocking because we didn't have any of that information that he was fighting this fight for the past few years. Basically felt like we lost him in like the blink of an eye before we knew there was anything even wrong. Man, it's just been such a hard few months while everyone is, devastated by a loss of this great talent at such a young age. There's so many people suffering in silence due to the large amount of casualties to this virus, and it just feels like we're constantly mourning. Like we haven't stopped being in mourning since March, and it's just honestly kind of exhausting.
Yeah, I mean, and the unfortunate reality is that many of the COVID-related deaths could have been prevented had we had a functional government who took COVID seriously and implemented measures to mitigate the damage that COVID would do. Unfortunately, America has always been a country that is all about profits, and capitalism is like the most important thing for it. And so it's like, essentially it just became, please die for the economy, when the economy still tanked anyway, but it was like, please die for the economy. And so it's just like, it was that plus just a general, I don't care about this virus because it's not personally affecting me mindset that many of Americans have, that is backed up by, again, both local and federal government. And this is the end result, 200,000 plus deaths, and still going, and the country by large has basically been on this trip of, if you ignore it, it'll go away, or, there's something we can do about it, let it run its course, let it decimate us. Meanwhile, you have all these other countries out there who are like, holy crap, this is serious. Let's do the necessary things as a country to make sure our people are okay and people are safe. That way we can get the economy going again. America is very much a short-term goal country. Again, it's capitalistic nature, forsake long-term for the short-term game. It's always been like that. And so, you have so many people throughout the country whose entire lives have been just, flipped upside down through the loss of family, loss of job, loss of business. And, people are starting to realize that, holy crap, this country doesn't give a damn about me. This country doesn't care about the people. It just cares about the stocks, the stock market, Wall Street, making money. And this is the worst time ever to have a president to elect somebody who believes so firmly that the government should be run like a business, because this is what you get when you have a country whose government is run like a business. Anybody who's ever worked for any business ever will know that those businesses don't give a fuck if you're sick. You better show up, and if you die, you'll be replaced 2 minutes later. And this is literally the culmination of all of that mindset in its entirety. You have that plus the death of so many people. Again, as Moris said, Kobe Bryant, Chadwick Boseman, and me personally, my uncle died this past January, or actually it was like December from cancer as well. And it's just like, people are exhausted, man. Like, turning on the news and just, it's such a heavy thing to turn on the news every day, and you just see, the new number of people die from COVID. The number is now this, uh, more and more states are getting COVID. They're on the rise. COVID cases are on the rise. And then you get, on top of that, you have, the protesting that's going on and the things that are coming out of that, celebrity deaths, death of icons, people that, everybody was looking up to, like kids were legit. Like, black kids really had their first superhero. And I know that people are listening like, oh, what about Blade and things like that? But I mean, in the sense of like a mass marketed hero that kids can look up to. Like, that was Chadwick Boseman. That was Black Panther for so many kids. And like, this was a guy who always preached about his community and, doing it for the small people and doing it for those black girls and boys who want somebody to look up to and trying to be an inspiration. And like, to see him gone far too early, it's heartbreaking, especially when you contrast it against the fact that some of the most vile people are still alive and they're still kicking. You got people from a bygone era of like the 30s and shit who are still here, still in positions of power, making life unbearably hard for others just because of the color of our skin. Like, not only that, but they get put into such powerful positions, and it's just like, fuck, man, like, this shit's not fair.
Yeah, it's been a year of just tragedy, to be honest. Any slight gains you make in life or whatever are immediately cut down by what everybody else has gone through. You don't feel like being happy because no one is necessarily really happy. You got, police violence shoving in your face 24/7, so you got to worry about that. You got the election coming up, and people just don't feel like getting tossed in that shit. It's just not a good year. And I remember back in 2016 when we were saying that. Boy, oh boy, we had no idea how worse it can get. And I'm looking back at 2016 like, that was rough, but yo, this? And what's scary too is, how long is this really going to last? Because we can just say 2020 was a bad year, but what about 2021 if we get that far? Like, how does that feel? Even your short-term goals or your sense of optimism is gone, because it's kind of like we've breezed through this year, and at the same time it feels like it's taking forever. So your sense of time is just gone at this point. So it's hard to even conceptualize going forward. I mean, you can for sure, but it's hard. And on my end, I'm just kind of like, what do I do next? What is the course? Do I just wait for everything to potentially get better? Do I move on my own, even though that's being pushed back against in every single way? And I imagine that's like that for a lot of people. And I don't know, man. It's I don't know. Never thought I would live through anything like this, but the more I kind of look back at history, it's kind of like this. I think periods like this happen almost every generation at some point in time. And I don't know. I legit want to ask like somebody who went through the Depression, like, bro, how did you do it? Or somebody that went through the recession of the 70s and 80s, like, yo, how did y'all do it? Because I can't really just fathom it. I can't process any of this shit,
I mean, you were still in high school during the last recession, right?
Yeah, so like it
you
didn't
were
affect
insulated
me.
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't really affect me. Like, my mom was good, so I didn't have to worry about anything. But now I'm basically an adult, and despite me still living at home or whatever, I'm trying to get out, do my own thing. But opportunity isn't necessarily there for me to do that. Or if I do get into something, it's going to be something that's going to lock me in place for like forever. Because of the positions. Like, I can't really go into movie making, or I don't really feel comfortable going to. I can just do stuff at home. But I don't really feel comfortable in getting into that because because of COVID, We don't know how this is going to affect the entertainment industry. Like, all these people, like, planning for, like, movies and stuff. I'm like, dude, when do you think you're going to really be able to finish that in time? You know?
Yeah,
So,
it's like this battle between wanting to be productive and knowing you can't be efficient in what you're doing.
so
And a lot of times it's like just risk mitigation where it's like, I shouldn't do that because it's not worth the risk right now.
Right. And that sucks. It's boring. You know?
Yeah,
It's like,
just feel trapped.
Yeah, you can't do anything. I was so much stuff I wanted to do this year. That the thing is, I can still do. But it's like with this added weight that makes it hard to even move. You know? And I imagine a lot of people feel like that. You know? And with Chadwick's death, it feels even more like that. It's like, yo, this was a hero. You know, and then you read about the fact that he had cancer while he was doing all these movies. And it's like, not as like a thing of like, you know, how people like to say, oh, he had cancer where you could do more and that type of thing. It's like, no. The issue is the fact that he had that and still felt like he can do that. And that is just like, wow, I can't imagine me doing that, you know. So I just wonder where that man's strength came from, you know, and that sort of deal. And that's how I look at his passing. Mm-hmm. It's more so just like, you know, we're all fighting battles, and not in the sense of just glorifying the fact that, you know, because yeah, if he would have came out with that, he probably wouldn't have got no roles.
Yeah, for real.
You know, and that's a sad part of that. And that's a sad part of like my situation right now. Like, I got fired a few months ago. That's hurting my chances of getting employed now. I'm starting to see. It's like, yo, then even though it was an unjustified firing in my eyes, and because it's an at-will state, shit don't matter. You just got fired, bro. So it feels like that, having that weight of just like having something on your back or whatever, and then you got everything else on you too. I don't see how he did that, man. I don't. But I take solace in knowing that what he did with his time here was amazing. And you know, it motivated me in a way to say this, like, look, man, do what you can. Just do what you can for right now, man. You don't have to have everything just far flung in the future. And even though right now it's everything's up in the air, it's like, yo, just do what you can. It's the best thing to probably that's helped me just keep moving day to day. I'll work on a script here, play a little bit of this here, you know, help my girlfriend move into her new apartment here. Just little stuff to kind of keep me occupied. And we've been doing it all year, but it gets harder and harder because you kind of get into this routine and stuff like that. But I feel like that's the only thing that's really gonna keep us moving. It is to probably like downsize our lives, downsize the expectations of our lives, because we got to feel like at any moment, you know, it could be like 10 years from now, everything's good, and something else comes up that just shuts the world down. We don't even know. It could be aliens or some shit like that. I don't know. You know, I'm being funny, but you know, it could just be it could be anything, you know. And you know, I think we got to come to realization that the way we've kind of been indoctrinated into this productive lifestyle has overall probably harmed more of our mental health than we actually have even considered. Like, we've seen it, right, like years beforehand, but it's like now we really see how that productive attitude has really harmed us at the core of our beings. And it's not just don't do anything or be lazy. It's more just like, yo, just do what you can for right now. And that need to just do more over and over and over again really hurts us. And that's one thing I'm taking out of all of this, outside of all the other things that happened this year. You know, the whirlwind of things and shit happened. But yeah, that's the main thing I'm getting out of this.
And also this past month, we lost Atlanta comedy legend Tyler Craig. He was 54 years old. Was known for his appearances on Comic View, Def Comedy Jam, among other performances. We're gonna put, I'm gonna put a little bit of his stand-up at the end of this episode if you guys want to stick around and hear it as a tribute to Tyler Craig. And of course, as everyone who's been paying attention to the news is aware, in Kenosha, Wisconsin, Jacob Blake was shot in the back by the police. The police were responding to a physical altercation that Blake de-escalated, and when he attempted to leave the scene, the police shot him in the back. And so reports are now that I believe he's in the hospital still, and that the early word is that he's paralyzed.
Yeah.
So prayers out to Jacob Blake. Every time we get together, there's a handful of people who were murdered by the police. Like, we can't even, I tried to like give the titles of the podcast these people's names so that it's the first thing people see, but it's like there's so many people that deserve this recognition, and we can't do it, because even if we do this once a week, I guarantee you there's more than one person a week who's getting killed by the police.
Oh, absolutely.
And these are just the high profile cases. Like, these are the highest profile cases that we talk about. But this is, it doesn't take a lot of researching to find police in your area who've murdered someone very recently. Like, if you're curious, you could put in your city with police shooting and there will be plenty of results. And this happened in Wisconsin, and as it happens, the Milwaukee Bucks, who are from Wisconsin, were scheduled to play a game against the Orlando Magic, a game that they decided as a team to not play. The media called it a boycott, which I found really weird. It felt like the powers that be in the NBA made it a point to these media members that they call it a boycott and not a strike, because strikes are a lot harder to deal with than a boycott is.
I didn't even get the delineation at first until somebody pointed it out. I was like, oh yeah, that is a clear difference. I'm just so used to hearing boycott, and that's probably why it worked. You know, I'm so used to just hearing boycott that I confuse the terms, but they're totally different things. That was a worker strike at the end of the day.
And they don't want to call it that because
right.
They're not allowed to in their contracts to strike at any point.
How's that bubble?
The NBA bubbles actually had no confirmed COVID cases. It's going a lot better for them than the other leagues.
I've noticed. Like, I don't hear anything about, outside of people going out to get like some Magic City wings or something like that. I haven't heard anything wild and out there from the NBA. So that's good.
Yeah, the MLB has had to cancel some games.
Oh, they're still going?
Yeah, some players have come out and said like the COVID precautions are bullshit because they have flight attendants who handle commercial flights, and it's like, are the flight attendants being tested? Because if they're not, the whole testing system of the MLB is flawed.
Yep.
So players aren't very happy with how it's going. I think the big test is going to be the NFL, because America really relatively doesn't give a shit about the NBA or the MLB like they do the NFL.
Right.
And that just seems like an impossible sport to have right now. You got like 50-man rosters, everyone shoulder to shoulder on the field. I don't know about that.
So are they going to do like the screens and shit for the NFL games? Or is that how they're going to do it? Like, have they even gone into how they're going to do the games?
I'm under the assumption that they're not going to do shit.
Because, like, I'm looking at how... Look, even the WWE has, like, the little screen thing going on with the crowd. Which is kind of cute, actually. But it's just like... I don't see how that's... They have huge stadiums, fam. Like, even baseball does, too. But, you know, you have huge stadiums. So, like, it's going to look even more emptier than, like, say, like, the bubble game. Because the bubble games kind of feel like... From what I saw, kind of like those, like... high school tournaments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you kind of G League, but yeah.
Yeah, right, yeah.
It looks a lot like their like Vegas Summer League setup.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't look too foreign. It doesn't look too weird. It's just like, okay, cool. But the NFL doesn't have anything like that. It's like, I don't know. It seemed like it's going to be kind of a weird season overall. I haven't really watched any sports. I kind of watched a little basketball, but I really couldn't get into it because I was just depressed about everything else. So it's just like,
Some of the players in the bubble have talked about it, and like, I completely support their decision to do whatever the hell they want to do with themselves, the players, that is. But I do feel bad, like, watching these games. Like, the other night when Denver beat Utah, Jamal Murray had a post-game interview, and he's, like, very emotional because he's playing a high a high speed, high emotion game, and then they ask him questions about police brutality, and it's like, how
Jesus.
much like how much can one person handle? Like, there's so much, the average person has so much weight on their shoulders right now, and these guys have to go out there and try and pretend like that's not happening, and then at the end of the game you have to ask them about police brutality that they are addressing, like, directly as an association of players. They came together and said it wasn't acceptable, but they have so little power. Like, I think Lou Williams said it's easier to ask for a strike than it is for the players to actually strike, because you're asking these people to stop being providers for their family, because this is a job for them, and just because they make a lot more money than the average person doesn't mean that they're not counting on that next paycheck to come through. Yeah, I can't fault someone for saying they need to feed their family and house their family during a pandemic, and they can't really, go 100% aggressive with a strike. And if there's one person out of the dozens or hundreds of NBA players, then how could you coerce them into, like, not feeding their family to strike? Like, it gets very difficult to actually do these sort of things. It takes a lot of sacrifice that I don't think you could expect from other people.
And that's one thing I don't think people realize about protesting and boycotting, striking, and all that. It's a risk. That's why I was never big on people just going out there just doing it just because somebody else told them to. It has to be a concerted choice, an educated choice to go do stuff like that, because you don't know. Because you're protesting out in COVID, anything can happen. So, or if you're striking against your job, like those Amazon workers or whatever earlier this year, they could have lost their job right in the middle of COVID. And trust me, the Amazon fucking tried. So it's like anything like that is a concerted risk. It's not as easy just picking up a sign and going out there a lot of the time. For some people it is. For some people it isn't. And that's something you have to realize, especially with basketball players. I think people overstate how rich these basketball players, sports players in general, are when it comes to stuff like this. Because, like, a lot of the times they're not getting their full contract pay in one season. That's probably why a lot of them are playing right now, is because they have to they have to fill their contract. They have to continue to get that flow coming in. So it's like, I can't expect them to, like, not play at all or to go strike on a whim or whatever. It has to be a concerted choice between each individual player. So I wouldn't judge them for that. I think they're doing the best they possibly can given the situation. And I'm not, and I think they're doing great. And I like that the NBA at least gives them the freedom to actually express themselves in that way, for the most part. There's still some work there, of course, but it's just like, I wouldn't see this in other leagues.
Yeah, essentially what kept them from striking was when the players' union president explained to them how much money they would stand to lose. Because since things are so uncertain, their future earnings is also in doubt if they don't finish out this season, because the way their contracts are structured, next season's kind of built off the profits of this season. So yeah, it's a lot easier to say strike than it is to actually strike.
One thing I learned about a lot of movements and politics and stuff this year is that it's a lot easier to say things than just to do them. Period. Like, it's easier to be a socialist in mind and then not and practice it in your life, daily life, because you're in the system. You're stuck in the system. You're playing the game already. So it's like, I can't expect anybody to completely fulfill what my idea of what you should be doing is like, because each and everybody has their own thing going on, and I can't dictate how you do that based on how you live, because it's harder in practice than it is to just conceptualize. So I don't blame anybody. I've definitely become a more relaxed leftist this year than anything else. I'm just like, yo, dude, we're in a pandemic, shit's going on. Do what you got to do to provide and help your family. I don't care. So,
You ready to talk about Kamala?
You know what? This whole I think I've done like a 45-degree change on Kamala Harris since the primaries.
Mm-hmm.
And not because of like she seems like so good to me or anything like that. It's more so that I feel like people's reactions were kind of overdone in the first place. And I feel like you kind of run into the same thing you did with Hillary a lot of the times, where you're playing into narratives that don't really match the person and how their career actually transpired post whatever they did. For example, probably she was a cop supporter as a DA, but when you look at her Senate record, it doesn't really. It's what you would want in somebody that believed in what you believed in when it comes to voting. And so in my head, I'm like, well, it seems like you would want somebody in a very important position like that also, is a senator of a very Democratic district. So whoever follows her would probably follow back with her voting and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not really as much of an L or like a depressant to me. It's just more like, okay, obvious choice. Let's move on type deal. And I really can't get upset or mad at it. Because I'm looking at this election as more of a means to an end, and not like in the depressive sense. I'm like more so just because I came to the realization earlier this year, like we still live in a very moderate, right-leaning worldwide, but very moderate American country, and a lot of the stuff we want can't be done overnight. I think it's foolhardy, and I think it's a little bit disingenuous to the people around you that you are more concerned about your own political goals than you are about the people around you. Like, I realize over time I have a very utilitarianist viewpoint. And so I feel like, hey, if we rush these decisions, XYZ person is getting hurt in the process. You're better off probably, doing some risk aversion than you are just going full ahead. Because a lot of people that don't want to vote Biden or are so down on this Democratic debate are really just like, I want to see everything burn, and so it can rise back up and be better. But I'm like, and I get that, you know what I mean? But then, like, who are you harming in the process? Because you're not harming the people on top. You're really not.
I mean, you should. I'm of the opinion you should only be of that revolution talk if you're ready to die.
Yeah, exactly.
Because those are the stakes.
That's what's probably going to happen. If America as we know it were to fall, for this quote unquote revolution, I'm going to be completely and utterly blunt. Minorities are fucked.
Exactly.
We are absolutely fucked. I cannot think of a single scenario in which, America, the governmental system, everything falls in America, and black people especially come out unscathed. I just do not see any avenue which this happens. And I'm going from the fucking 240 plus fucking years we've been treated like shit in this country. Especially in the South, boy, we are fucked. All those sundown towns that kind of sort of quote unquote went away, them shit's coming back full force. Well, boy, hell no. I'm not trying to have shit burned down. Fuck that.
I realized that a while ago, that revolutionary talk is cool, but we live in a globalized society now where everything affects everybody, and the only people that are really going to suffer are those in impoverished, the minority, or etc. Those are the people that are going to suffer. The people that got money or some type of means or whatever are good, relatively speaking. So it's I'm kind of good on the whole trying to push for things I know is going to hurt a lot of people. Now, will it happen eventually? Probably. Hopefully, I'm good and well off enough to be to kind of escape from shit like that, because I don't want no parts of it, to be honest. But it's I don't see how that's helpful. You're better off probably just being as risk averse as possible, while at the main time maintaining the things that you want over time. I don't see how you can just burn everything down and just assume everything's going to be on the quote unquote left side or whatever, when it's who runs the country now and why they run the country, because they have the power, the money, the means.
Yeah, and if you're cheering for a far left versus far right kind of showdown, there's so many more conservatives in this country, like you were saying earlier, Mike, that if there's any significant amount of casualties, this country is going to be ultra conservative by the time it's over.
Yeah. So I think someone pointed out, the thing about Trump winning this election means that Democrats are going to move right and not left, more than likely.
I think we should have probably prefaced all this by saying that we're going to vote for Joe Biden.
Oh, yeah, I already know I am.
I ain't got no choice.
Yeah, I really don't have a choice.
Biden or fucking Trump, and I'll be damned. I'm voting for Trump, so
yeah,
Biden it is.
I have no moral high ground on this fight outside of the voting for Biden. That's literally it.
I would love to like put my nose in the air and act like I'm above it, but no, can't do that.
It's not the time, man. Like, we had time to do that a while ago. We did not play that right.
Just on election day, it's the most I could do to try and help people not get hurt.
Right.
Yeah, and I think one of the big problems with a lot of the voting base in this country is, again, it goes back to this whole short term versus long term mentality. It's like a lot of people, especially moderates and left leaning, never think about the implications of, number one, not voting or some third party vote, whatever. You know, it's like, it's cool. You know, you voted, you know, you did your protest vote, whatever. But these are going to be the exact same people who bitch if Trump wins. You're going to hear these people complain, oh my God, I can't believe he won again. Not only that, and when he puts in these ultra conservative fucking Supreme Court judges that fucks up, like fucks the country for like 50 plus years, those are going to be the people who are complaining, like, oh my God, what happened? This is terrible. Yes, it's terrible because you took this whole voting thing for granted. You did your little protest vote and you voted for whatever fucking Green Party fucking nominee is, Bob the Builder. I don't know who the fuck it is, but you voted for them, or you didn't vote at all, or you voted Harambe again. Like, and then you're going to be pissed when you got some ultra conservative fucking Supreme Court justices in there. You're never going to get your fucking fabled student loan forbearance or whatever. You're never going to get any of the shit that you've been crying about because you're a dumbass who doesn't vote for long term. Yes, like, sure, voting for Biden doesn't mean we're going to move ultra left. That sucks. You know, it sucks that America basically has this built-in system that keeps this country pretty conservative. It sucks. You know, we move left incrementally, we move right at the speed of light. It sucks ass. Like, trust me, I'm black. Like, I get it way more than you. Like we get it way more than any white person in this country will ever get it. So, like, you know, preaching to us about it is crazy. But it's like, yeah, we get it. But what can you do but vote, you know, for that incremental change? That's all you can do. And what I'm going to be also annoyed about is that if Trump wins again, it's going to be the 6,000 plus articles about how black people didn't save the country.
Yeah.
Like, black people didn't save the country. And it's just like, I get tired of that. Like,
we're like a low percentage of the country, fam.
We're
like,
13% of the population. Why the fuck can't 73% of the country, white people, fucking take accountability? Like, nigga, turn to your mom, turn to your uncle, turn to your racist granddad who says all kinds of fucked up shit at the dinner table. Slap them, number one. And number two, blame them for the fucking problem of having Trump in office. Don't blame 13% of the population for not saving y'all.
Hey, most of the country doesn't even vote.
Yeah.
And you're angry at the people who voted for Joe Biden, mostly.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope you guys are getting ready for it because you know it's coming.
Oh my God.
It came with Hillary, and that shit was annoying. It was just like, oh, this random black community in fucking Minnesota didn't vote. They said they sat out all 2,000 people. And this is like, okay, what about the fucking millions of white people who set the fuck out? Go interview them. Like, since y'all y'all want to blame somebody so much, like, they're right there, bro.
Yeah, this election is going to be historic for more than one reason, but I just feel like the battle for the idealism versus pragmatism versus just like apathy is the centerpiece of this fucking election. It's like that's gonna be the cornerstone of like all future elections and stuff, like, depending on how this goes, you know. And I don't know, I feel like my politics of, like, I always felt like, I think during the 2016 election, I thought I learned that, okay, maybe we do need to be a little bit more progressive. We do need a little bit more. But then when COVID hit, it kind of was like, yeah, good luck with that. You know, it's like I said earlier, it's like, just do what you can. You can't do everything at one time. And if you try to do it, I think I did a video about this. It's like, what you end up doing is you end up stepping over people that didn't ask for this. And then you're wondering, okay, why didn't we get what we wanted? Because you assumed you knew better. You assume you knew what's better for everybody else. And that's the same shit conservatives get in shit for all the time. Is assuming they know better for everybody else and stuff like that. You can't work your politics like that. You have to be inclusive. You have to be understanding and empathetic of everybody's plight. And some of them are stupid as hell. Trust me, I get it. I do understand. But it's like, yo, you're not going to move it anywhere. You're not going to move anywhere. The people that said they ain't going to vote, more than likely, you really can't worry about them. Because they got their head up their asses and stuff like that. But the people that are really actually trying to decide who to vote for, talk to them. Actually understand why they're back and forth, whatever. If you have the energy for it. Trust me, I get that too. But it's like, the way we need to move, if we're going to move anywhere progression isn't like a one way. It isn't like a constant forward thing or whatever. Progression in life, day to day shit is like you do a steps forward, you take a bunch of steps back or whatever. You learn from that shit, and hopefully you can keep going forward. Progression is about consistent moving. It's never been about that. So we have to get out of this idea that moving forward is about constant pushing forward and not caring about anything else, what happens to anybody else. That shit is just not going to work. Like, and that's kind of where I'm at now. It's like, well, let's just do what we fucking can. It all comes back to that. Do what we fucking can. Make sure everybody's viewpoint is, to some extent, as long as it's healthy, taken account for, and then we move in that direction. You can't fucking do that with a Trump presidency. You can't do that with 4 more years. It's impossible.
The whole revolutionary apathetic voter thing, like that, it reeks of white privilege. Like when you see people saying how there's not a big enough difference between Trump and Biden, but their policies are so far apart from one another.
I wouldn't say it's just white privilege. I think it's a type of educational privilege, because it's not just white people doing that.
Well, I know it's not just white people doing it, but the mindset that they could opt out and then now it doesn't affect them. Like the black voter who does that is going to get hurt. The white voter who does it can just ignore it and act like what they didn't have any sort of effect.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I got you. It's dumb.
And it's so fucked up because like I'm going to that voting booth specifically because I'd rather be punched than stabbed. And these people who are too apathetic to be like, what happens to you, that doesn't really make a difference to me. Like, unless I could vote for there to be no violence, then I don't want to vote. And it's like, bro, can you help me? Because I don't want Trump. Like, that's the absolute worst possible outcome. Like, if we can we at least agree that Trump getting into the White House is the absolute worst thing that could happen on election day? And then think to yourself, what can you do to keep that from happening? Voting for Joe Biden is going to fucking suck. The same way that voting for Hillary Clinton fucking sucked. Like, the Democrats can't be fixed on election night. That's not when you do it.
No, that has to be done during... Basically, you have to be electing more left-leaning people during your primaries.
Ticket votes.
Your locals and stuff like that. You can't always think the electoral shit, the presidential, executive, all that. You can't expect to do everything in one fucking vote. And that is so dumb to me. Because, like, voting doesn't work. It's like... It does when you can actually do things, when you actually move in proper ways and stuff like that. It electorally, probably not. You probably, if you're like in a red state like I am, good luck. But if it's more, when it comes to more local and stuff, like the reason why we got like a John Lewis, in the Senate and stuff like that, in the House of Representatives and in Congress, is because that area voted for him. And it's like you get people as strong people like that by voting them in from the ground level. That's the entire point. And I wish we would focus more on that. But people focus so much on electoral shit. They think, okay, of course voting doesn't work electorally. That's not how the system was set up. So come on. Yeah. And there's things to improve that too. But that has to be downvoted from the ground up. Everything has to be grassroots at this point. It can't be like expecting some big organization like the DNC or something like that to follow along. The DNC chases shit because it sounds nice. The reason why they moved left was because Bernie was taking so many people. That's the only reason they moved anywhere near left, is because of that. So imagine what you can do if you got more Bernie-like figures in positions of power they have no choice but to kind of move left because they got to capitulate to somebody. That's what they do. But, you can't do that if you don't vote. Overall voting. I'm not just talking about electoral. You can't even hope to move anything. The whole idea is people just say, "Oh, I'm not going to vote," and then you ask them, "So what's the plan instead?" They don't have anything to say because there is nothing else you can do.
Yeah, I'm only accepting people saying they're not going to vote if they're going to start doing the revolutionary walk. Because
even then, I'm side eyeing you. I'm like, really? I would love to see that.
Yeah, because they know it's not feasible. It's an excuse. It's the easy way out. Staying home and trying not to think about it, that's the easiest way out of the situation.
Best way not to play the game. Best way to out the game not to play. It's
but the game's still being played with or without you.
Right.
Yeah.
And that lack of understanding is just do you just want to take yourself out of society? That's possible. Goodbye. But other than that, you're still perpetuating systems by existing. So, what's going on? What's the move? And if you don't want to think about it, that's on you, dog. But don't try to preach to other people that not playing the game is viable, because it's not. It's never been viable. AKA apathy sucks.
Go register. Make sure you register to vote. Tell others, tell your friends, tell your family to register to vote.
Register to vote. Make sure you figure out where you can drop in your mail-in ballots. So in case the government decides to fuck up the
You're gonna have
USPS,
to drop those off at the White House.
Go to know what your local election center is. We can drop out. I did that earlier this year with my state primaries, and I forgot we had a runoff, and I was kind of upset about that because I didn't hear a goddamn thing about it. What pisses me off about this, the more I think about it, the fact that COVID happened, I had no idea you could do mail-in ballots regardless. I thought there had to be a reason for you, you had to be out of state or something like that to only do mail-in ballots. You could have did that shit.
Mm-hmm. It's the best way to vote.
It literally is. And I'm like, it's frustrating. It's really frustrating. You can tell I could avoid them long ass lines, and I could have voted early to make sure my vote counted in some form or fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And
don't have to interact with nobody.
Yeah, don't have to sit in the long lines. I have to sit there and try to really do 5-10 different names. To be honest, if I'm mailing in voting, what I can do is get on my computer. Who is this person? A lot of times you go to voting places and stuff like that, who the fuck is this?
I'm a nerd, so I go with a cheat sheet.
See, look, I don't do that. I gotta do my research the night before or something like that and then go. But that's the thing. I can sit at home okay, who is this? Okay, let me look them up real quick. It's
Dude, that's no joke, man. Researching your political candidates in your local elections, it's hard to find info on some of those people.
It is.
Yeah.
No,
that's
it
on
really
purpose
is.
too.
Yeah. That, and I don't think people have really gotten on ideas hey, I can put my entire policy stuff online. It's that easy. Because Georgia has a few websites where you can at least look up people's voting records, at least to some extent. But yeah, when I found that website, I was bookmark.
During these truly trying times, Cardi B and Meg thought fit to release WAP, which has done several things to a bunch of different demographics of people. First and foremost, it's a shame that people can't really go to the club when the song is out.
There's so many good songs came out this year. I was like, damn, wish I could go to the club and go. Just
absolutely unfair.
This bops, man. I'm like, ugh.
And one part of the reaction that this song got was the conservative pundits kind of took it in, and it wasn't for them, but they acted like it was. So many hot takes from conservatives who just apparently don't like women owning their sexuality.
My favorite was Ben Shapiro's. Is this what feminism is about? And I'm like, yes. Welcome to Feminist Theory 101.
Well, he kind of outed himself as well by saying that him and his wife don't have that sort of marriage arrangement. It sounds like he got her out of a catalog, or there was contracts drawn up when they got together.
He made it sound like he's never gotten his wife wet. And it was all right, bro, you don't have to tell us this.
We could tell by that haircut.
Yeah, you should discuss that with your wife, my guy.
Hey, look, if you know what, give him a little slack. A little.
I'm not. Fuck that.
A little. Like, you don't have to be as sexual with your wife like that. Just don't get on other people about it, about their sexuality. Like, leave other people's sexuality out of it. But you and your wife can do whatever. That might be like asexual or something like that. That's cool. But don't infringe other people's expressions of their sexuality. It's not cool. That's the only little bit of slack I'm ever going to give Ben Shapiro ever.
Fuck that guy. Like, I've seen way too many men on Twitter and just social media in general, like, complaining about, the song and all of a sudden caring about, the kids. It's like, bro, you listen to little ABC 123 talking about gangbanging and busting up and fucking popping Molly and stuff. Now all of a sudden, you're worried about, kids being impressionable youth and things like that. Like, just say you hate women with your chest and go about your day. Because, like, if you don't want to listen to the song, don't fucking listen to it. If nobody's tying your ass down to a chair and forcing you to listen to it. All these women on Twitter keep talking about it. Bro, fucking mute them then. Go about your day. Jesus Christ. Like, I have yet to hear one person who's complaining about this song, about how women are enjoying it, make a valid argument as to why they're so upset. It's always all these women. Like, bro, shut up. Just shut the fuck up. Like, you don't like the song, you don't like women enjoying it. That's cool. Not really. You're a fucking weirdo, but that's cool. Like, go fucking live. Go to your room, bro. Damn.
You could have kept that to yourself, pretty much.
Honestly, it's just like, why does it bother you so? Why does it eat at you so much that women are enjoying the song? That song sucks. Again, so does 2/3 of the fucking shit that little ABC 123s be putting out, but.
I gotta hear this guy's album. You keep mentioning him.
It's just so annoying because, like, I have yet to hear one valid argument. It's always, women are happy. It literally boils down to women are happy or I don't like the song. Neither of them are valid arguments. It's like, just go away.
All right, first of all, the song's great.
I enjoy it.
I wish I could hear it more. I wish I was out and
I'm cool on it.
Summertime, and I wish I was walking around the park and people were playing it and shit.
That's mainly
that right now.
That's mainly the reason why I think I'm cool on it, because like certain songs I've listened to over the years, like it sounds better in the club. I already know.
Oh yeah, if you're drunk
or at a bar or something like that, it sounds better here. I mean, not everything's shut down. People are going to listen to this song at the club. That's their choice.
I mean, you could do that if you want,
and I'm judging them for it. But yeah, it's definitely yeah. I wish I could enjoy it in the same way those guys are enjoying it, without any face masks or anything like that. Actually, no, I probably would wear a face mask after all this is over, though.
There are a few things that I would like to see stick around, like the way that restaurants have changed has been nice.
And in what way?
In that there's now not all, but a lot of the local restaurants now do like curbside pickup, and it's like made for that now.
Oh yeah,
it's way better to get food takeout.
Yeah, because I don't like ordering food and having it dropped off. It takes A, forever, and B, it's cheaper to just curbside pickup.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, a lot of restaurants start doing that. There's a lot of city plans to convert some of the lanes of traffic into seating areas, which is nice because we have given up way too much of our public space to roads for cars. And
fuck bikes. I'm sorry.
Bikes? What did bikes do to you?
Hey, yo, they be taking up way too much to the damn lane, bro. I be feeling like I'm about to get into the other lane sometimes. I don't know if Georgia just does their bike lanes like stupid wide or something like that, but it gets a little crazy sometimes. Like, it gets a little ridiculous. I'm just like, all right, this is way too much space for a bike lane that nobody really rides bikes on in the first fucking place. Like, this is ridiculous. Maybe if people rode more bikes, I probably wouldn't have much of a problem with it, but god dang, dude, this is like, yo, why is it so big? Somebody's gonna take that out of context. I already know.
Might start the episode with that.
Did we talk about the Tory Lanez thing last podcast?
We did, but there's been new details since we talked about it.
Fuck Tory Lanez.
It's the conclusion hasn't changed.
Yeah.
The stance remains the same. But the details were that Meg finally confirmed that Tory Lanez shot her after being harassed online to talk about it.
It was more so like people didn't believe her and they were coming at her with it. And I think Tory Lanez's PR team was coming almost like a smear campaign against her that tried to say that she didn't say that what happened didn't happen, even though she was trying to basically give Tory an out by not speaking on it at all. Mm-hmm. His team kind of fucked it up for him. They did fuck it up for him because she went out and just straight up said it.
Yeah, because the way she reacted, it sounded like they were like spreading false stories on the incident to try to make him look better, and she was like, no. Yeah, like she gave him the out to just shut up because she wasn't talking about it. And then he pushed the issue, and it kind of blew up in his face.
And what's sad is that she did it for the reason of just like not wanting to get him in the situation that so many other black niggas just have seen this year. You know, so many black people have seen this year. You know, just to protect him, even though he could have killed her. Mm-hmm. You know,
she basically was like, "Can you just pretend that I don't exist in your world anymore?" And he couldn't do that.
And he didn't, or his team didn't, you know, because we don't really hear much from the horse's mouth nowadays.
And then they try to bring up some bullshit about Meg snitching.
Yeah, that whole thing's been weird as hell.
Yeah,
it's like, damn, the internet really doesn't know what snitching means.
I mean, considering that Tekashi basically came back with no like consequences, I don't think anybody knows snitching is anymore. Like, yo. I don't even think nobody. The hood code is gone at this point.
That's what, like, the whole idea, the concept that Meg has to play by the street code. Like, do you understand that the street code dictates that Tory Lanez now has to get shot himself if we want to play this game?
Yeah,
like,
that's true. Yeah,
like it isn't you get shot and you stay quiet. No, it's you get shot and now you could go back. It's your turn now. That's the street code, you know? Like, no one wants them to play by those rules. And Meg took a road way higher than anyone expected or could expect someone in her position to do. And in just, like, trying to bury it. And
I'm not sure I want to do that at all.
Like, yeah, like, way bigger person than I am.
I would have sang the moment that nigga shot me, boy. Like, yo, Tory Lanez shot me. Like, the matter of fact, I would have tweeted that shit after it happened. Like, this nigga just shot me. As I'm laying on the ground, as the police tell me to, this nigga Tory Lanez really shot me. Now I'm out here laying on the ground. There's a helicopter above me so you can see me texting. That nigga shot me. Like, I'm quote unquote snitching, boy. Because ain't no way in hell you gonna shoot me and I'm gonna protect you. So see, Megan cares. I Don like, man, fuck that. Take your ass back to Canada expeditiously.
I like how Bun B said the bare minimum he has to be sent back to Canada.
Bare minimum. Don't ever let him cross the border again.
Drake was right.
And like, yeah, like speaking of Bun B, like Bun B, he put it plainly. He's like, that's some bullshit. Like, yo, he just shot her. He's like, had that shit happen in Houston, Tory would have been fucked because all of Houston was gonna ride out. And I'm just like, I agree. Like, people talking about some old Megan's a snitch and this and that. Every single person on social media calling Megan's a snitch would have been crying to their mom the moment they got shot and fucking trying to sue as well. So like, they all a bunch of fakes. Because honestly, most of the people talking about snitching are a bunch of suburban black kids, upper middle class suburban black kids who fantasize about being hood niggas. That's what it is when we break it down.
Yeah, like I don't really get that. Like, you don't. Have you been in the hood? Like,
the closest them niggas got to the hood's watching Boys in the Hood with them parents, bro. That's it.
First 48.
Yeah,
and the flip to this being to encouraging like the street code violence is that if you really understand what that means, escalation doesn't have an end necessarily. Like, you going back doesn't mean that they're not going to come back at you. And when you're in a situation where you're just trying to hurt someone, like, what does Meg get out of that? Like, her career's taken off. She doesn't need this extra drama, you know? Like, this is so small shit compared to what she's trying to do this year.
Absolutely.
Considering what she's been through already, too.
That, too, yeah. And what's wild is like, actual street niggas who, like, you know, got into the rap game and got out, all of them are like, yo, what are y'all talking about? Like, Megan's not a snitch. Like, she's not even a street chick. Like, what the fuck are y'all talking about? The only people calling her a snitch and all this stuff are people who have never been in the hood. It is a bunch of suburban youth who are saying this. While actual street niggas are like, shut the fuck up. Y'all don't know what you're talking about. Y'all listen to too many of our albums because y'all don't know shit. And it's just like, honestly, yeah, shut the fuck up. Like, I imagine everybody who's crying about snitching would probably piss their pants and cry if they saw a gun. Like if somebody just brandished a gun just randomly, like, or they saw it on somebody's hip, they'd probably go crying to their mom, like, "Mom, get me out of here. I'll never cut curfew again."
I've never been shot. From what I hear, it's not very pleasant.
Yeah.
So
I know a few people have been shot.
I do too.
There's always mixed reactions to it. Like my brother, he got shot. He's like, "Oh, it was like a stinging feeling."
It probably depends on where, you know.
Yeah.
That and if you survive in the first place, like, you know, it's a bunch of factors.
One of my friends got shot twice in the abs. He's like, the first one hurt. The second one was just like, "Oh wow, you did it again."
Jeez.
I was just like, Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, I don't know why we still have to put the hood code onto the rappers in the first place. I feel like the rap game has been out of the hood for like a long time by this point.
Very long time.
Bro, like Drake is the biggest rap star, bro. We are fully out of the hood. Like,
I get trying to take some of the swagger as like a presentation, as like a selling thing, but outside of that, like, leave the hood in the hood, fam. I thought we was over this shit. Like, nigga, this is why Tupac and Biggie died. Like, literally. This is why we dropped that shit, for the most part. It's like, it's gone. When Diddy was out here dancing in the videos and shit, this shit was done. It was done. It's over. We're out of here. It's over. Stop. Get some help. Suburbanites. Just stop listening to the old 50 Cent albums and thinking you hard. It's all good. 50 Cent ain't even hood no more. He got a TV show, and is he still selling vitamin water?
I have no clue.
I don't know about the ongoing.
He's basically a mogul at this point. Like, I don't want to hear shit from nobody, dog. The hood rappers that are actually hood are doing the hood shit. Megan,
they're not telling you who they're shooting and shit. That's stupid. You don't do that. Like, you don't put your business out there. Oh, I mean,
smart hood niggas don't do that.
If you're trying to stick around, you're not putting all your business out there.
Just leave for them. I was like, just leave the hood niggas shit for hood niggas. That's it.
Like, I think the average person would be very shocked about the kind of shit their favorite artist was getting into behind the scenes. Both how clean some artists are and how dirty some artists they didn't expect to be. Because it's not always the kind of music you make. Like, some of the most hood dudes in the music industry fucking sing R&B. Like, they're not necessarily out here rapping all the time. Like Mike was saying, music's changed a lot. Like, you don't have to be a gangster to be a rapper, and you also don't have to be a rapper to be a gangster.
Yeah, it's an aesthetic at this point. So, I mean,
it's definitely an aesthetic. I mean, Rick Ross, he built a whole career for this.
Yeah, aesthetic. Exactly. So it's an aesthetic, and I mean, you don't have to live up to it. I mean, some people may think you fake or real, but who gives a fuck about them? As long as you making money, fam. Like Rick Ross, you know, shit. You just play into it, you move the fuck on. I'm not expecting you to roll up on nobody. So,
in fact, we'd like it if no one rolled up on anybody.
Exactly. You know, let's avoid that. You know, we don't need to lose any more good artists because of some bullshit. All right, what else going on? I don't know what else is going on. Without mentioning a certain event that happened like last week, because I don't really feel like talking about that.
Oh well. I was about to bring that up, but hey,
I don't want to end on a downer.
That's fair.
This is gonna be hard then.
Mulan's coming, and that's pretty bad too.
Lovecraft
Country episode 3 just aired.
I still haven't watched it yet.
I just saw the first episode.
Lovecraft Country is great.
I might watch it with my girl tomorrow.
Journey Smollett be acting her ass off, boy. God dang.
Yeah, I gotta take back my insult.
Like, yo, if she don't get some kind of like award, I might just go protest just for that.
Protest the Emmys?
Yeah, whatever the fuck gives out awards for TV shows.
I caught the first episode a few days ago, and I didn't get to the second one because it's heavy, man. Like the racist storytelling in the show is just like, I can only take so much of it.
Yeah,
I'm glad it's episodic, so I could like have a exit point.
Yeah, it's
heavy.
Yeah, it's heavy, but it's necessary. You know, like I really love, because I never finished the book, same title, but I really like the show because it frames Lovecraftian horror in a new light because, you know, as people or some people will know, Lovecraft was incredibly racist. Like, this guy, he was so racist that other races were like, holy shit, bro, you are racist as fuck. Which is really crazy when you really think about it. Like, Lovecraft had a cat, and his pet cat was named Nigger Cat. And other races were like, bro, you gotta chill the fuck out. You are going too hard right now, my guy. But one of the main things about Lovecraftian horror or cosmic horror is like people going through their minute days and slowly dwindling into insanity and questioning things that are happening around them. And what I love about Lovecraft Country is that this is all like Lovecraftian horror has always been framed through the eyes of white characters. And so when you put it through the eyes of a black character or characters in a time in which their biggest fear wasn't the unknown, but rather white people, it makes for very interesting stories because it even happens in the first episode. You know, in the very first episode, towards the middle of it, they encounter these creatures, Shoggoths, right? And everybody is scared shitless of these things because it's like, this is an unknown entity. You're like, yo, what the fuck is this? But even during all of that, the white characters were still a very much immediate threat to the black characters, despite the fact that they're these big, unknown, crazed creatures that were killing them left and right. That entire time, the white characters were police officers, to put things in context, and the black characters ran through a sundown town, and so, you know, the police are about to kill them. And so, despite the fact that, again, these Shoggoths were all around them, their guns are still very much fixated and pointed on the black characters because to them, like, we got to get rid of these niggers. And for the black characters, it wasn't, oh shit, fucking cosmic terrors. It's, oh shit, these white racist fucks are still trying to kill us despite the fact all that is going on. And that is a perspective that you could never get with a white lead character ever. And it's like, I made the statement on a message board, but it was like, you know, like, when you have nothing to fear, you can literally sit there and create these cosmic horrors and fear the unknown as your main driving fear. But when you're a black living in, you know, racist, segregated era America, your biggest fear isn't fucking Dracula. It's not some unknown monsters. It's the very real monsters that are around you every day. The fear of, if I go outside my house today, will I make it back home? The fear of, if I take a left at this turn and enter this town, am I welcomed in this town? Will I be killed just for getting something to eat at a diner? Like, those are very real everyday fears. Again, I emphasize everyday fears for black people. And so having a show in which you introduce these otherworldly horrors and things like that, and trying to balance that between black people's real fear, the show does a really great job of that, because every episode that has happened so far has been to the backdrop of racist white people hell-bent on getting rid of black people for simply being black. Everybody should watch that show. It's really good. Again, Journey Smollett. If she does not get some kind of fucking award, I'm going to be pissed.
Okay. I guess I'll tune in tomorrow. I recently rewatched Avatar and Korra. They're great.
Kuvar fan club here.
Say what?
Kuvar fan club here.
Hey, yo. Outside of being a fascist, she was dope.
Kuvar's a badass, yo. She was putting hands on Korra, boy. Beating the bricks off that girl. I was like, yo.
I mean, she was fighting like a weaker Korra, though.
Still beating bricks off of her. This is like basically Krillin beating Goku. Like, a win's a win.
I guess. You know.
A win's a win.
I mean, the win has an asterisk, if I were to use certain terminology.
Win's a win.
No, I was watching like a political, like a video essay on like the 4 seasons of Korra and how they like attribute themselves to each like certain type of ideology for each season. You know what? I was watching like, because they were like trying to put like anarchy onto like the first season, and I was like, okay, I can see that, and how it didn't really do it well. And then I was watching the show, I'm like, yeah, they just used it as like a baseline and then did their own shit. So like all these criticisms don't even make sense. And I kind of got upset with that. Like, yo, do all these video essays on YouTube do that shit? Like, they'll take like what's the baseline feature of a TV show, book, movie, or whatever, and do a whole essay on it. Which, to be honest, is basically how academic essays work, anyways. But then, like, because it's YouTube, it's easier to perpetuate ideas and shit like that. So it gives like really awkward readings to things that don't need those readings. It's just something I just noticed was like, yo, maybe I should actually look at these video essays a little more critically and just kind of watch them while I'm playing Fallout or Skyrim or some shit like that.
Yeah, they'll let anyone put something on YouTube, Mike. I
mean, yeah, but then like, you get the veneer if it follows a certain type of belief system that you have, you kind of want to. It has that veneer of intelligence and this veneer of like, oh yeah, this. If you believe this, then this, that, and the third or whatever. And then, like, when you actually watch it yourself, it's not really all that convincing. It's like, oh, no, this is literally not... Like, they were trying to talk about how, like... No, it wasn't anarchy. It was communism for the first season. And I was like, this dude ain't even nowhere near communist. All he did was say he want non-benders to have equal rights. That's literally what he said. And that even that plot line wasn't really the case. Because it was some, like, ulterior motive and some shit like that. I'm kind of good on video essays for a little while. I mean, I'm making one right now for Tekken, but it's just like, yo, fam, I really feel like when we take in information on YouTube, we need to kind of like dial it back a little bit and not just, especially when it comes to things that we believe in. Kind of like getting out of our own bubbles and stuff like that. When we watch stuff like that, we kind of need to just be a little bit more aware. Why'd you make a 40-minute video about this? That I watched all 4 parts of, but you know, hey, look.
We all have a lot of free time right now.
Yeah, I mean, I probably would do that anyways. I like video essays in general, but yeah, that really got me.
You know, the lack of new release media is affecting me more than I thought it would.
Yeah,
it's like, the last big movie to come out was Sonic.
The last one I've seen was Bad Boys.
I saw Bad Boys as well.
Tenet came out, but we can't watch it because America's COVID response.
Anything else?
Drink water.
I mean, I was doing that already.
Wear your mask.
Go to soloSpoken.com.
Log in. Get the merch.
The who?
The merchandise.
Oh, we got merch?
Yeah.
Because I've been trying, once tournaments start working, going back, I'm trying to have some merch. Like, I'm doing, like I said, I was doing a video on Tekken. I used one of my matches or whatever for some footage. And then my thing was like, ATL, SWS, Mike Breezy. And I'm like, dang, I ain't got no merch on. I need a sponsored jersey or something. And, I'm just waiting on it.
Would it be too much to say that we all have merch by the time COVID's over? Is that too big of a...
I mean...
I don't think that's too hard.
It's not too hard because that's like a couple years.
Because people rolling out these face masks.
We got years.
Just people rolling out face masks like it ain't nothing. Like, you got the fake Chanel face mask, and I'm like, all right, cool, whatever.
Yeah, getting the t-shirts isn't the issue. It's like how many to get. We could throw up a pre-order, and then I got to ship all that stuff out. It becomes a big to-do. I mean, I'm open. Maybe we'll start doing like seeing if anyone's interested, and we'll just do like a batch of people who for sure want one.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind wearing it on the stream.
Yeah, like we can like have it set up like the Teflar bags. Gotta log
Teflar?
into a website.
The Teflar?
Teflar. It's TELFAR.
Yeah.
Do like their bags, and then just like it's a limited quantity of our shirts, our merch, and it's like you first come, first serve.
It's not for everyone. It's for you.
That's right. Custom made for you when you order it.
I think Telfar's line is not for you, for everyone.
Yeah, it is now, but we're going back to before they decided.
Yeah, we're not for everyone. We're for you. We're way more exclusive.
Facts.
Eventually.
Maybe.
Yeah, start off small, and then, when people want more, then supply and demand, basic capitalism. You know how it works. So cool. I'm streaming again. I am, because Tekken season 4 is coming out, and I want to kind of get ready for that. And I'm doing a video, like I said, so look out for that. Friday92 on YouTube and on Twitch. That's it on those are my plugs. That's about it.
I don't have anything to plug. Angelus?
I have nothing. Again, just drink water.
Drink water. Go to Mike's YouTube page.
There you go.
And support your local sex workers.
That too.
All right, I'll see you
Unless
guys
they're a Trump
next
supporter,
time.
don't support them.
Don't support any Trump supporters.
Yeah, don't. That's bad.
Find a more progressive sex worker.
There you go.
All right, I'll see you guys.
All right.
Don't you hate going through the drive-thru with people who like to scream at the people on the inside through the speaker? Are you the craziest people in the world? Do you know them folk will mess your food up? My partner do it every day. Every day he do it. I tell him every time I get in the car, I sit down, hit my drink. I say, hey dog, you know we finna go to McDonald's. He said, I know where the hell McDonald's is. I said, man, I ain't telling you because you don't know where it is. I'm telling you because I want my food messed up because you be screaming at them people. Man, come on, man. They know your card. They know your voice. Come on, man. I don't want my food messed up this time. He talking about shout out, they finna get mine right. Soon as we pull up to the speaker, he opened the door. He got his feet outside the car with his mouth right by the speaker. Wait for her to say, can I take your order? She come on the food and say, could you hold please? He jump out and say, yeah, I want them 8. Okay. Okay, damn it, but y'all gonna get mine right. I unlocked the door because I know I got to get out now. She come back and say, can I take your order? He jumped back out the car. He said, yeah, I want them 8 like I said last time. Hell, I want my meat sent through the grill 2 times because last time it went done, I ate it anyway, my stomach was bubbling. I was doo-doo and everywhere. I should have sued y'all. But I like McDonald's. I'm going to give y'all one more chance. I just want pickles, onions, and please light mayo because you put so much mayonnaise on the sandwich. I can't even take the meat. I bit the sandwich and slipped down my throat. I almost choked. I should have sued y'all. I just got out the car and walked in. I can still hear him screaming when I get on the inside. I'm going to give me some crispy lettuce. Not that brown stuff you be putting on there. I look back in the back. He talking about brown. Kick it over him. Kick that sandwich up under this fry machine. You get down the street from McDonald's and you got waffle fries. McDonald's don't sell no waffle fries. That say Timberland in the middle. If it got you a super size. The moral of this story is, eat at churches. Hey, look, I'm tired of y'all being